St. Simons is like my favorite place on earth. Really? Yeah, I would move there tomorrow.
It's only an hour from me, isn't it?
I know, yeah. Good to go? All right, we'll get started. We'd like to welcome Scottie Scheffler into the interview room here at the Hero World Challenge. Scottie, welcome back to Albany. Obviously runner-up each of the last 2 years. Can we just get an opening comment on being back here, a place that you've had some success in the past?
Yeah, it's good to be back here in Albany. It's a fun finish to the year. I mean, yeah, it's tough not to want to come to the Bahamas this time of year in Texas. It's pretty cold, so coming here in some nice warm weather is definitely a lot of fun, and yeah, it should be another fun week.
As part of the changes to the schedule, obviously this week coming in between PGA Tour seasons, what are you looking to accomplish this week as we move ahead to the 2024 PGA Tour season?
Yeah, I think it's good just to see where my game's at. I wouldn't say I'm as prepared for this event as I would be for a regular tour event, just being my first tournament coming back from a pretty extended break. So just looking to kind of get things running again, get my feet wet out on the course, and just play some tournament golf, shake some of the rust off.
We'll take some questions out here. If you have a question, we'll get a microphone to you. We'll start with Paul in the second row.
Scottie, you mentioned it. We haven't seen you in a while. What did you do over the break? Anything fun?
Not a whole lot. It was nice. Yeah, we stayed in Europe for a week after the Ryder Cup, and then Meredith and I went on one vacation a couple weeks ago, and we did family stuff for Thanksgiving. But other than that, just enjoyed some time at home with family and friends, and just enjoyed being kind of just living a more normal schedule day to day, albeit not having to go to work, which was nice. So just kind of getting some rest during the day, playing some other sports, and making sure I was staying in the gym, staying working out. But I didn't touch a club for a good portion of time there.
Did that time off give you any time to reflect on the season you've had? Just with a little bit more distance from it. I mean, statistically, one of the best seasons we've seen on tour in a really, really long time.
I don't know if I'm much of a reflector. I think when the time comes for me to not be playing golf, I try not to think about it. Actually, I don't even know if I really try not to think about it. I try to immerse myself in other things. And so that's kind of what I did. I really just felt like it was a good time for a break, and I feel refreshed kind of going into this tournament. I'm excited to be back out here and playing again. I'm excited to be back in competition mostly.
Go to Swami on the right.
Scottie, you just said that you had a fairly extended break after a long time. How difficult is it to keep your mind off what is happening off course in global golf? There's so much happening, people stepping down from policy boards and new people coming in, talks about merger, not merger, and so on. How difficult is it to keep your mind off it? Because if you didn't, it wouldn't be a break.
I mean, a lot of that stuff was news to me. I didn't really know any of that stuff was going to happen. So, I mean, usually some sort of notification on my phone would be the only time it really pops up, just because I'm not really around many people from the PGA Tour when I'm in my off time. I mean, I still see some of my buddies at home that live in Dallas, but outside of that, I don't really see too many guys that we see almost every week out here when those discussions are more prevalent. And so during the time off, yeah, we had a few talks with some players, but other than that, I really wasn't doing too much.
Other questions? Dave?
What's your schedule look like to start the year after Century? I mean, you're going to go to Kapalua, I assume, but
yeah,
what are you doing after that?
Yeah, it's another one tournament I definitely don't want to miss. So I'll go play Century, and then I think I'm playing Amex, and then I'll kind of get into the meat of the schedule I'll mix in a few what are we calling them this year? Elevated
signature events.
I'll mix in a few non-signature events as the year goes on. Yeah, I haven't made it too deep into my schedule, but I have a pretty good idea of what it'll look like at the beginning of the year. I'll obviously play Phoenix again, and then play every signature event that I can.
Can you speak briefly to just seeing Tiger back out again? I mean, it just this guy has had so many comebacks. He doesn't go away. He keeps at it. Pretty inspiring.
It's just a lot of fun for me to see him out here. I love looking down the range and seeing him hit balls and hearing that sound. He's still got the same sound, which is amazing. I mean, I feel rusty coming off 2 months without a tournament. And he goes almost a year at a time, and he comes back and he plays fine golf. For him to come back and make cuts in majors and do what he has been doing in his comebacks is, I don't think, it's really hard to comprehend until you do it out here. You need to make a cut in a major, you really have to be on your game. I mean, I couldn't imagine taking a year off and going to try and make the cut at the Masters.
Right.
I mean, getting back into competitive golf is something you can't really simulate at home. It's so much different. And for him to be able to do it like he has been doing it for so many years is pretty miraculous.
One last thing. You said you haven't really been too immersed in the tour business, but is there a sense, is there conversation, have you been privy to anything in which Tiger's been involved in just the amount of effort he spent on, what's going on behind the scenes? It seems like he's doing a lot for the tour.
Yeah, he's doing a whole lot. And for us as players, I mean, Tiger's not something that's going to go at anything, 50%. He's going to go 100% into whatever he's doing. And right now, that's with a lot of stuff for the tour. So as a player, I'm extremely grateful for what he's doing. And he has our best interests in mind, and he's not going to compromise when it comes to what's best for the players. And, I mean, his voice definitely holds a lot of weight. And so for us as players, it's great to have him on our side. It's great that he wants to do this stuff. I mean, that's another thing, that he doesn't have to do that. He could easily sail off into the sunset, never touch a club again, never do anything again, just go live his life and, enjoy kind of the second half of his life and do whatever, hang out with his kids. But he continues to come back and want to compete, and he continues to, do what's best for the players and the PGA Tour. And so it's pretty inspirational for the rest of us that are involved in the game with what he's been doing right now.
We'll go over to Rex and then Bob.
Scottie, I know you said you don't like to look back, but given your season this year, what you accomplished, not just the wins, but sort of the strokes gain mark that you set, ball striking, that type of thing, how would you grade this season?
Yeah, I thought I played pretty well. I feel like I've said it a few times. I felt like I could have won a few more times than I did. Still being able to win twice. I won, a signature or designated or whatever it was called last year. And
We just went over this.
what was it called last year, though?
I'll get last year fine. It was called a designated event.
There you go, designated. Won a designated event last year. This year it's just a regular event again, isn't it? Phoenix.
Yeah.
Yeah, regular.
Full field event.
Full field event.
Open event.
We're learning all the terms. Jack's going to give me he's going to coach me up after this. Was able to win the players, and I was very proud of my consistency. I think that was the thing that I was definitely the most proud of I was near the top of most of the events that I played in, and I'm sure if you looked at like a winning percentage against the other guys out here in terms of like if you look at an individual win-loss, it was very good, and I'm very proud of that consistency. But like I said, I definitely want to win more.
And you have a vote for Player of the Year. Who would you vote for?
I don't know. I don't think it's in good taste to vote for yourself. I think with the way John played at the beginning of the year with his 4 wins and one of them being a major, I think he's we play this game to win. Yeah, the consistency is great, but you want to win golf tournaments, and John was able to do that at such a high clip at the beginning of the year. And if it was something that, if he finished off the year that way, it probably wouldn't even be a discussion. But since it was, 6-7 months ago or 8 months ago, whatever it is, people aren't thinking about it as much. But, he was pretty unstoppable to start the year.
Up here to Bob.
Thank you. Scottie, you were talking about Tiger and being amazed how he's done what he's done coming back like that. As someone who strikes the ball well like you do, what do you make of his at this point? Is that the key? Is that why he's able to do it? He's still an elite ball striker, or is there more to it than that?
I think he's just a freak athlete. I would say in my head, I never got to see Nicklaus up close, but in my head, Tiger I think is the best ever player game, and the way he did it, winning at such a high clip and for so many years is pretty insane. And when you watch him play, he really didn't have any weaknesses, and he won 82 times, 15 majors, 15 majors. And when you watch him play, like, I even saw it, the first time I played them was the Masters we had during COVID, and it was in the fall, and he wasn't really at the top of his game, and it was the day he made a 10 on number 12 at Augusta, and he's just different than everybody else. Anybody else would kind of just say, whatever, I've already won this tournament, 4 or 5 times or whatever he has, and just kind of pack it in for the last 6 holes, and he turns around and birdies 5 of the last 6, and he hit. Still to this day, it's the purest iron shot I've ever seen on 16, And it's like he got mad still, and he's so competitive, and he's so driven, and he's so good that, he's different. He's different than the rest of us.
So even for somebody who plays at such a high level like you, and obviously sees a lot of other guys strike the ball very well, Tiger is still at a level that is it's the same or maybe even above?
I mean, I don't know what he's at right now. I hadn't seen him hit a ball in a while. But, yeah, like I'm telling you, the shots that he hits, when he hits them well, like it's pretty inspirational for me to see. And I learn a lot just by watching him because he always has a shot in mind, and there's not a shot that he can't hit. And there's not a shot that he's not willing to try and hit either. And so when he's out there playing and competing, I can only imagine what it was like at the peak of his game. I'm seeing him kind of in the twilight of his career, but I'm sure at the peak it was pretty fun to watch. YouTube, my guess is, doesn't really do it justice.
Go over here to Martin.
Scottie, I wonder in the time you had off if you were able to reflect from a personal perspective on the Ryder Cup and the Saturday morning in particular. Obviously, the feeling you had then. Did you take time to reflect on that, and how do you plan to use that going forward?
Well, judging by your accent, you probably appreciated it that week a little bit more than I did. So nice question. That's good. Let's see. As far as the week went, it's I played an alternate shot. I struggled. I didn't play my best, and then in the best ball and singles, I played really pretty nicely. I went up against John in both those matches, and like sometimes you just get beat. And it's not a fun feeling. I wish it could have gone differently. But, like, we go out for that first alternate shot match, and John was just firing on all cylinders. And unless a lot of us are playing really, really good golf, it's hard to keep up with. And so, like, that first match Friday morning, we just went out and got beat. John just played great. And then go out in best ball in the afternoon. We played pretty good. And then he birdies 16 or eagles 16 and 18 to have the match with us. And, I mean, it's one of the things you just walk off 18. Brooks and I had 2 really good looks for birdie inside of 10 feet, so odds are we're going to make one of those to what we think is to win the match, and then he makes the putt, and it's like, okay, that's a half, and you're like, man, we played pretty good, just happened to get nipped again, and it's one of those tournaments where the guys pulling off those kind of miraculous shots, those are the guys that win that tournament, and, it's not a good feeling, and to be on the losing end. So now I'm 1-1 in the Ryder Cup and going into Bethpage in a couple of years. First of all, I'm hoping to be on the team, but I'm definitely hoping to win a few more matches than I did this year.
You obviously made the most of Whistling Straits. You enjoyed that. But I remember you going down the line in Rome to the European players and congratulating them. How important was that to you to show that respect to them?
Well, yeah, it's one of those things where the heat of competition is a ton of fun. I've been fortunate enough. John's been a guy that I've played in almost every Ryder Cup match, and we've had that's one of the things I reflected on. I was like, man, I really feel like I play against John a lot in this format. And I think I've played 7 matches, and I've played him in 5 of them. And we've halved 3. He's won 1, and I've won 1. And, it's just one of the things that's one of the great joys about our sport is being able to have those battles. And those are the things that I'm sure at the end of my career I'll look back on most fondly is the friendships that are made through that and the joy of the competition. And so when the tournament ends, I'm not talking to him Monday through Sunday. It's all business, and when the tournament ends and they beat us, all you do is take your hat off, shake hands, and congratulate them. There's really nothing else to do. I mean, we got beat, and as a sign of respect, just take your hat off and say good job. That's it.
Got time for a couple more. We'll go to Adam.
Scottie, right before the Ryder Cup, you started working with Phil Kenyon on putting. How much time have you spent with him since then, and are there anything you're trying to implement this week?
So I would say the stuff that we put in place when I saw him before the Ryder Cup is the same stuff we're working on now. I saw him 2 full days in Dallas before Ryder Cup, and since then he's come to Dallas one more time for 2 days to work, and then he's here this week. A lot of it's been done over video, but putting's one of those things. I think what Phil has helped me the most with is just getting a clear mind, and right now I feel like my mechanics are in a good place to where I can use my athletic ability instead of, using it more as a crutch, kind of / overusing my athletic ability. Whereas it's kind of hard to explain, but I felt like I was using too much of too much hands and stuff like that in my stroke. And that's something that I also battled in my swing when I was in college. I found myself in certain mechanical positions in my swing where I was having to use my hands so much that they became more of a hindrance, if that makes sense. So, in my swing in college, I would get really far underneath, and I would feel the club back there, feel it open. I would use my hands, and I would fought a hook all of college from swinging underneath and using my hands to flip it over. And my putting was something where I got into a position on my backstroke where I was having to use my hands too much, and that's where I got a little bit of the heel strike that I fought a little bit this year and some pulled putts. And so now I feel like Phil has helped me get into a place where my mechanics are good enough to where I can kind of turn off and use my athletic ability to kind of help. Whereas, now my swing, I'm at a place where my mechanics are good enough to where I can use my hands, and like sometimes you'll see me have weird finishes and stuff like that, but that's just because I'm getting so into the shot that I can, use my athletic ability to hit good shots and not use it too much to where I'm either saving it or hitting poor shots. And now I feel like I'm in a place with my putting where I can just use my feel and my instincts to kind of turn off and just go there and try and hit putts and be okay with the result, whether it goes in or doesn't.
Go to Joy and then Matt.
Hey, Scottie. You spoke about Tiger and how much you guys appreciate what he's doing for the tour and for the players. But just consider this scenario that after coming from all these, his next comeback, he's not able to play that well and he's struggling on the golf course. But what I want to ask is, how important will it be for you guys to still see him inside the ropes and playing, even if he's not the old Tiger Woods?
For us, especially myself, being someone that hasn't competed against him too much, it's definitely great just to see him out here playing. I think it's great for the game of golf, and I think it's great for Tiger to come out and still compete. It's obviously something that he loves, and so for us to be able to see him do it is still a great experience, and we're glad to have him back out. As far as his play goes, that's something you'll have to ask him. Tiger's probably not going to be teeing it up too much if he doesn't feel like he can win. But that being said, I'm sure with his mental attitude, he probably feels like he can win no matter how he's playing. So we'll see what the golf game's like. But like I said, it's just great to see him back out inside the ropes, and we're greatly appreciative of the stuff he's doing for all the players off the course, but it's even more exciting to see him inside the ropes competing again.
And we'll finish up with Matt in the middle.
Scottie, you mentioned having about a month off and spending some time with the wife and traveling. Just wondering, you'll have some time off after this before Century. What are you planning? What are you working on? Anything coming up in the next month or so that you've got going on?
I'll just continue to fine-tune stuff going into Kapalua. Now I'm at the point where it's more, full-time golf stuff, so going through full practice routine, all that kind of stuff, and just really getting ready for the season to start.
All right, Scottie, thank you very much for your time.
All right, thanks, y'all.